That part, that way. Big blessings to all of you guys. And then we're over here with our panelists. Make some noise for Chance York and Obi Original. What we're gonna start off with, we'll be starting off with Obi first, and he'll be sharing his story, and then we'll have Chance finish off afterwards. And then at the end, we'll do some Q&A, so hold your questions till the end. Write them down in your phone, whatever you gotta remember. I know the smoke is going around, you know, you might get that second hand. We all hear, right? I love it. Exactly, right? Now we can smoke and listen. Right? All good vibes. And then after the Q&A portion, we're going to go ahead and do a DJ Low Show episode. It'll be DJ Low episode 104. Chance York, thank you, brother, man. Thank you, brother. This is my OG right here, man. I've always looked up to him. So, man, hearing those, man, you're the best. So we're going to go ahead and start off with Obi. Before I hand off the microphone off to Obi, a reason why I wanted Obi Original to be one of our main panelists over here today was because not only is he an amazing, talented artist, vocally, singularly, he also produces, engineers, has his own studio.
What else he do?
You know, he also runs Ozone Creations, helps out with that, and that takes it to a whole nother level. How many of us do we know of bands, groups that have been starting off together, but it just, something happens, right? They've been holding it down. I met him through COVID, so, you know, it's kind of like, fuck COVID, but it's also like, thank you, COVID, because I did an open mic night, and I was in Texas, and this guy hops on my feed one night, and was like, can we talk, can I share my music, can I do this? And I was like, Obi, hop on. He's in the studio, he connects me to Chinway, he connects me to everybody else a part of the Ozone Creations. On top of that, so many things this man does, he recently went on tour. Not just any, yeah, come on, make some noise, tour. By show of hands, how many people wish, not that you have gone on tour, so if you have gone on tour, don't raise your hand, but how many people wish to go on tour, dream of going on tour, would like to go on tour tomorrow, next 6 months, like, raise your hand, right? Look around, raise your hand, keep those hands, raise it high, y'all. Yo, this is why we're here. We're here to educate each other. We're gonna be doing this monthly, every month. So the next one is gonna be December 4th, and the one after that one, January 8th, here as well. So make some noise for that. It better be double this size too, right? We'll have to go somewhere else, but we love this place. So we're just gonna stay here as much as we can. So the next thing is, this man's went on tour with Libanka this summer. Who know Libanka? Yes. Number one song in the world. And I want to go ahead and hear about how his time was with that, what it was like being in the middle of the eye of the storm during all of that commotion and praise and all that. But not only was he on tour with Libanka, he was also on tour with Alicia Keys. The OG, the legend, right? So that's why we're here as well. And I'll get into Chance, because I got a lot of accolades and a lot of praise for this man too. So don't just think, man, there's a reason why both these guys are here. Let's make some noise for both these gentlemen. Obi Original, tell them who you are.
Everybody say yeah, yeah. All right. First and foremost, give a round of applause to my brother man, DJ Low. You know, I'm actually privileged to be here today and take part in this first installment that he has. When he brought up the idea, I think it's something that a lot of people have tried in the city for a while to do, but ultimately when it comes to creatives that now listen to that call, I'm really happy that everybody's here tonight. You know, humbling myself. I know it takes a village to raise a child. And a lot of people that know me know that's my nucleus. So I appreciate that. But yes, for people that don't know, my name is Obi Original. Yeah, so I'm a producer, I'm an instrumentalist, I'm a co-founder of a collective called Ozone Creations in Minneapolis. Can I get an Ozone? Oh yeah, so I'm so proud of where I've seen my life go throughout the past couple of years and to this moment. And at least, I guess this place is not more of like, kind of a summit, but more of a testimony for me. So because what I have really comes from a higher being. I mean, for everybody, that might be something. For somebody in this room, it might not be the same, but it's not in our control. But what is in our control is if we want to take our destiny, right? Sometimes it's stressful when you want to do that. But ultimately, the end of the goal is that you just do it, and it's worth it in the end when you look back. So I feel that energy right now. So I appreciate you guys for that. But yeah, I've been doing music, producing for 9 years. That is when I started. I went to Irondale High School in New Brighton, Minnesota.
Irondale.
Yeah, so if anybody's local.
What's the mascot?
Oh, the Knights.
The Knights.
Yeah, Irondale Knights. So my musical beginnings really started there. When it comes to how do you produce, how do you mix, how do you master. After that, hey, my ring don't fall.
It's right here. It's right here.
Where my ring fall? Well,
That's a sign.
okay.
Signs of the time.
It's all good. But ultimately, after that, I went to St. John's University, did my 4 years, got my communications degree. But ultimately, when I was at St. John's, that's when I started producing more, To be honest, taking less time with homework and more with FL Studio and doing that. But I'm grateful I took that time.
Yeah. Right. Hell yeah.
And I was able to balance both, right? But I started with inspirations coming from like Metro Boomin, J. Cole, that era. What you want? Tell me what you want era, right? If anybody remembers it, it was a really great time for hip hop. That it was new. We call it mumble rap now, but I people that know me, I always give the James Brown analogy, meaning like, if you hear James Brown on the record, is he really talking? but he's yeah, you know what I mean. But he's like, hey, so, but he's giving you energy, he's giving you vibe, and sometimes that's more than enough. So ultimately, I loved that, and it inspired me to start producing. When I started producing, one of the first people I started recording with was a guy called Breezy Too Fresh.
Breezy.
Brother Breezy. I grew up with him ever since we were in school, and he ultimately was like my main inspiration of like, I want to record somebody and I want to make them sound good. That really ignited my engineer in me, having that big brother to show me the way and like at least trust me to make sure that I can be able to give him a catalog that he can give to other people so he can get an opportunity. That then came to the realization of me working with then, my brother Chinwe, my brother Bakari, he was at Hamlin. So we really started working on our hip hop stuff at the time. But there was this emergence called Afrobeats, right? So I made the conscious decision to really change my path of production. I said I want to go from hip hop to Afrobeats. Not only because I'm from Nigeria originally, that's where my parents are from. That's where I'm from too. But I knew that I can have a say when it comes to what does the diaspora look like in America? How are we moving the strides? You have people like The Roots that said something. You have people like, De La Soul that says something. That type of, diaspora going back home vibe. So I wanted to be able to be part of that renaissance because I knew it was going to come. And I knew that I had people around me like Bakari, people at the time like Kuka, and Barry, he's a really great artist, that were able to get what I was trying to do and was able to come with me. And ultimately at that time I was able to be introduced to a lot of other different artists that really said, yeah, you know what, I'm a rapper, I'm a singer, but I like this beat that you're making. I can come and incorporate to it. And that's the point, you know, because ultimately I wanted people to kind of get the message through my production that it doesn't matter if I'm from Nigeria or you're from Scandinavia, you're from, you know, all that. It really matters that we're able to come and evolve the nucleus of home together. Right? Yeah, so like was my main prerogative, my selfishness in what I wanted to do. And in 2019, after a long time of producing, I dropped this song called Tsunami. And when I dropped it, it was my theory on how can an independent artist be efficient in making a production for themselves, right? So, as myself, I made the beats. I put myself on it. I chose Barry to be my feature. A really great videographer that was a friend of mine called Justin Blake helped me out with videography. I was able to direct it. And it was on minimal budget. It wasn't really, we didn't have much. But I had the story of a tsunami and given an analogy, and I said, you know what, there's so many lakes in Minnesota, so let's just go in the water. All right? Simple idea like that. And because I'm a guy that is inspired by movies like Spike Lee movies, you know what I mean? Things that give you that cinematic feel. I felt like, with all due respect to everything I was seeing around at the time, I felt like a lot of music videos were looking like vlogs. I wanted my own to look like a motion picture, right? So I said, okay, we're in the water. I want to make the movie poster. The music is the soundtrack. So now I have a promo plan that I'll be pushing it, and I have people that I meet in the room. I'll give credit to Summer, my sister here. I give credit to King Swank. I see my brother Kion Rose here. Fanika Gray, she knew from the time since the jump. There's so many people that know the story of Tsunami. So literally, I don't need to say much about it, right? But that did a lot, not only for me, but the people around me. And at least having that idea of home in them. But since then, we've been working on Ozone Creations, and the numbers have fluctuated in our membership to what we have now. But the people that we've had in Ozone and the people we have now are the best musicians that Minneapolis has ever produced.
If I can interrupt quickly, I call them the Minnesota Wu-Tang Clan version of Afrobeats. That's how I put it. If you know their music, like, you know, that's true.
Yeah, and
Tap in.
And also I say that too in all pride and in all happiness for everybody that's been involved, because everybody has been able to find their own way of being their own superhero. And that's another analogy I say to people. How in the world are you going to have the Avengers, and then you have 20 Black Panthers? Am I making sense? Everybody's individuality is very, very important in how the ecosystem talks about it. My brother Darren, we were just talking about it earlier. So ultimately in that's when the ego death really primarily takes place.
Come on.
So therefore your understanding on how to work with each other. How can you assist in somebody's success?
Yeah.
Because then, naturally, people will come and do the same for you. Again, I'm a testament of that. It takes a village to raise a child. Okay. So what I've been doing for my own success is nothing new. It's something that is innate in my Nigerian culture and a lot of cultures that I know a lot of us come from. the key is to really integrate that culture in a tainted industry.
Yeah. Sick word.
In a tainted, yeah. Because ultimately, when you look back at it, I'm a historian, you go back to Chuck Berry, man. It's not been easy for us. We currently live in a time now that, yes, by the means of merchandising, by the means of promoting and doing your own thing, that you can make your own profit. Where we just got here.
Right.
So when you look at an aspect of time, we're pioneers. So ultimately, if somebody has an idea that works for them, it's very important to listen. So even for me being up here, it's coming from the accumulation of a lot of the ideas that come from people in this room, to be honest, and people outside. Like for example, when I was called to do the tour with Libyanka, that was a really happy moment for me. Not really for me, but for her. Because when she was working, I remember the drive that she had. I remember the ups and downs we had. But yet at the same time, she said, I can come and call anybody from New York or LA to come and do this for me now. Libyanka is now like bigger than the Beatles have been, even if you look at it in statistical numbers. And even in that respect too, as a city, we have to lift her a little bit more. Because even in a historical context, even what Libby did, don't pass Lizzo.
Yeah.
So, and this is people that we know.
Yeah.
And somebody that's not a stranger.
Right.
Sometimes in this same industry, they'll say there's industry plans, this and that. It can really happen like that for anybody if you just take the time. And she really did take the time, and she was honest because it was depression. You know, so but going back to it, when she called me for the tour, I was honored in that respect to say that you remembered people from back. So, and from that opportunity, I've been able to work with a lot of names that I'm excited to bring out in the next couple of months. And ultimately, in that case, the one thing too is that, like as an artist too, I would like to come and reiterate is, it is important that yes, independence starts with a good stronghold, but I would argue that you need help.
Mm-hmm.
Say that again.
You need help. I'll say it again.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to me, I'll be another testament of it. When we started Ozone, yeah, I was doing the videos. I was doing the promotion. I was doing this. I was doing that. And I burnt out. It was, I'm telling you, my brother. So, and because I was so used to doing it since we started, right? But when we were going in that point of being like, yo, this is where we're at now, my brother Bakari, I call him Smokey Robinson for a reason. Because people don't know what Smokey Robinson, the guy sang, but he was a really great person when it comes to business, getting deals done for the collective. That is his role in Ozone. When it comes to Summer, she has become a great champion in prioritizing social media. You see, so ultimately, everybody has been able, through time, and it's not been easy, but we've been able to come and realize, okay, this is what we really do well at, what we're really good at, you know? And myself, I've been able to say, yo, when it comes to sound, I'm like a Lee Scratch parody. I can come out and give you good sound, you know? But like, yeah, I've been excited for the journey that has been bestowed upon me, and I'm excited to see where it goes. And even in that respect, I would say this to anybody in the room. It's getting busy, but the minimum I can do is at least respond. And if you have any questions, be that a lending ear, you know, to anything that you have questions about when it comes to production, when it comes to mixing and mastering. Because at least for me, that's what, again, with my studio, I really prioritize for the artist, that's your calling card. Because now when you leave the studio, if you're talking to, you know, Epic, if you're talking to Sony Music, this is what you're gonna have for them.
Right.
So it has to be of the utmost quality. Because now, I'll tell you truthfully, a majority of people are not prioritizing that.
That's right.
And to be honest, it's not to their fault, because they're going to sooner or later realize it, but we have to make sure that we're there to make sure they realize it.
That's right.
So that's why I'm here, yeah? So, again, thank you so much, guys, for, you know, being here. And also, again, if you have any other questions, I'll be reaching out to you, okay?
Make some noise for Obi Original. I got a couple of questions. I just got a couple of questions before we hand it off. So Obi, what was one thing that, I mean, it's probably a lot, but what's something that you can go ahead and share with the audience about tour life? What's something that, you know, as they want to go ahead and gear for a tour, what are some things that they should prepare for themselves?
Yeah, for tour, knowing your worth, because now when you're going into it, you're going to have to know, like, from people, like, for example, me, I can be a source of how much are you worth when it comes to your role. Because on the role that I had for LaBianca, I composed her music, I played bass, I was band director. Okay, so you know, bass a little different. You know, but that's the first thing, right? So I was able to ask, like, people around that have been in that role before me, to, like, ask her, like, say, okay, how much did you get for this? And just to make sure I'm getting my best investment in myself, right? And then next too, with tour life, when we went for Alicia Keys, it was what the business would call a legacy tour for Alicia Keys, because she was not releasing an album, right? So there's a difference between, like, supporting and, like, supporting act and opening act. So as a supporting act, we were really supporting her, you know, so it was really a nice moment for us to actually interact with Alicia Keys, get to know her team. And even when you're in those situations, nobody else is going to fight for you. That's another tip. Nobody else is going to fight for you. And do not take it, like, personal, right? Because even from the perspective of everybody, all things are not equal from perspective. So when you're in that face-to-face and you want to lock down that deal, you have to be able to look back for where you came from very well. Because that is the biggest gauge to know, like, that's why I say it's so important to know where you came from first. Because now I'm talking to you with that same energy. And you guys are able to receive it. You know, then you'll be able to know the difference between somebody that is just like, hey, yo, man, I've been in the industry for 10 years, you know, then been doing, with all that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, even when you're getting that opportunities from A&Rs, from marketing managers, like, just being able to say, like, this is why I'm special, this is why I have something to say, you know? And that's a big tip. Really put the diaspora on your back, man. And that goes for everybody, because we don't talk about it as much. You know, sometimes we ask about, like, what should we do, rather than it being like, let's talk about the hard things and see what comes out of it, and that might be the solution, right? So, but yeah, tour life was good. We stayed at, like, a lot of different places, met a lot of cool people, but the one thing I realized, right, after 15 cities, was that, like, there's no place like Minneapolis, though. There really isn't.
There's no place. There's a reason why Prince stayed here for so long.
Yeah, because when you go, like, to New York, there's a lot of cool creatives, but then when I'm hearing the stories about, like, how does your scene look like? We have like, how many Afrobeats DJs in, like Minnesota? We got Peace Boy, we got Calvin, we got ENL, we got so many. But then, like, over there, they don't even have those types of nights.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And LA. That's crazy. So like, even in that respect, the reason I talk about the Afrobeat scene is because it's that like flag bearer when it comes to like the diaspora and really making sure everybody's involved.
That part.
You know what I'm saying? So, like in that respect, what we have here is special. It really just takes an ecosystem to build it up. And even if you want to go on your own tour, just know that it takes a lot of investment. And that's why, like they say, closed mouths don't get fed. So if you know people that are like, yo, I can put some money behind you, and I'd love to see how you do, ask. Because that's when you say, like you remember like about 30 minutes ago I said like your destiny, you get to choose. You can have that like moment with somebody and really just ask. And then they'll be able to say, yo, I see this for you. And they understand, yeah?
Yeah.
And even for me, that's what I did. You know, like when I was doing my tour, I was asking like a lot of people from my life saying like, yo, this is the time. You know, like what can you do to sponsor me for this? And I have a lot of great sponsors that have been there in my life that have helped me, you know, for me to get to the space that I am now. You know, in that respect. So ask those people around you. Okay? But yeah, tour was good.
Last question before we hand it off to Chance Stewart. What was one of your most memorable moments on tour? Was there a memorable night? Was it a breakfast? What was one of your most memorable moments on tour?
Yeah, on tour, when we were in Toronto, we had a gunfight. So we traveled like in vans, right? But we got some water guns. So it was like our van versus like Libianca and us. And then like one night after we were done with the show, we were just had a mad like water gun fight. But there was this girl that was that just stopped in the street and she said, "Hey, can I join? Can I join?"
Yo.
So she just joined and she started shooting at like everybody and everything. And she was like, you know what? I had the worst day today, but just seeing you guys in Mill Street shooting water guns at each other really brought me up.
Yo.
You know, so you know, like I live life for that type of shit, man.
Yes.
You know, like really being able to give people good energy and good vibes, you know, and being able to be inspired by those that I see that do the same. So that like, but yeah, important. And also meeting Alicia Keys, man.
Yeah, come on.
She is very humbling. I think if you want to do like a case study of a career, you know what I mean, for like over 20 years that has worked well, that's a really great career to look at, right? You know,
Yes.
no problems and no issues. You know, so and a really great team that she has too. So shout out Live Nation.
Did she say anything that's like stuck with you?
I mean, with her, she was she didn't say anything that stuck with me, but I love the fact that she used like oil diffusers.
What?
Like she had like 3 pianos, and then like she had like oil diffusers on every piano. Yeah, so like I like that she tries to set good energy and vibes for herself, you know, in a good atmosphere. Yeah, so, question.
Number one, Alicia Keys was my first girl artist crush.
Oh, yeah.
Little boy.
Hey, yeah.
And
Hold on. We're gonna save the comments and questions for afterwards. I appreciate you, Rico. Hold on before we go up in there. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I don't have a contact, so I can't.
No, bro.
I have a manager's contact.
No, Rico. I'm in the same boat. Alicia, I love Alicia, man. No, I just wanted to hold on. Let's just cut. Hold on for comments. No, I know. I'm gonna. No, Rico, hold on. We'll let Rico finish. I just wanted to say like we weren't going to be doing question and comments until the end, but Rico, I'll let you finish.
I was just saying, she has this thing. There's this thing called Song Exploders on Netflix. Ooh. She has a whole like thing episode about how her whole production and everything went. And like they started the beat from scratch with the piano. She tells you about it. She tells you what she loves about it and what she needs on the beat for it to feel like her. Like, yeah.
And that's a very good point because even when she gives critique, I was able to get that note from her. She'll be like, "Oh, Kevin, on the second measure, I think you were a little too loud."
Can you bring it down a little bit and bring it forward? Because what you were doing before was pretty good. Other than that, we're good.
I was like, I'd faint. I'm not gonna lie. But I mean, like, all jokes aside, I just wanted to take you guys back from when I was just like seeing the rehearsals, right? But like, what I was able to see is like, there's a way to communicate with people.
That part.
You know what I mean? There's certainly a way that you can communicate and get your point across in saying, you know what, I like this, I don't like this. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're working with people, when you're working with us fellow collective creators, excuse me, right? So, but yeah, she was really good at that, and I was really happy to see it too.
Make some noise for Obi Original!
Yeah. Yes.